Investments involving regular payments, 1.5. Okay, for all of these activities, you're going to use two links you'll find online. The first one is to a financial calculator, and the second one is to an Excel spreadsheet. So it's just going to be a matter of using these two tools to answer these questions. Okay? So we're going to determine a future value of an investment that earns compound interest involving regular payments. So what that means is you have an investment and it earns compound, it earns interest on interest, and plus you're adding $200 a month or $200 a year to it. So how much will that make? Okay, so here's our first example. Indu has been depositing $200 into a savings account at the end of each month. The interest rate on her minimum monthly balance is 6%, compounded monthly. She now has between $1,000 and $1,500. How long has she been depositing money into the account? Okay, so what we've done is we've set up a little bit of a spreadsheet here, and we're going to spend some time looking at this spreadsheet. Let me just make this a little bigger. Not that quite that big. Okay, so we said she starts with $200. Okay, and then what we do is she gets interest on that, and her interest, if you look here, is 6.06 divided by 12. Why? If we look back in the question, it says she has 6% compounded monthly, so 0.06 divided by 12. Okay, so that's a little bit of a formula there. Okay, her regular deposit is always 200, and then the end of the month we add B3, that's this one right here, to D3. So we add all of these together, B3 to D3. Okay, to complete the spreadsheet, we're going to select B3 to E3 as a group. B3, see that's B3 to E3, so to select, we hold down and we drag over. Notice the little square at the bottom of the selected cell. Click and drag it down to the desired row. This will complete the row. Okay, wow, so what it did is it copied those formulas. So what happens after the end of the first month? She has $401. That's what she starts with. She gets 0.06 divided by 12 interest on that. She gets 6% annual interest 12 months. So it's 1/12 of that. Okay, so she gets $2 interest. Plus she adds another $200. So you add those three together, 401 plus $2 plus 200, that gives you 603. Now this number gets plugged over here, okay, and we get interest on that, plus we add another $200, add it together. And as you can see, it slowly moves up. Now, our original question was, she has between $1,000 and $1,500. How long has she been depositing money? Well, to get that answer, we know that she's been depositing money between either 4, 5, or 6 months. That's if she has that amount of money. Okay, so I have a spreadsheet very similar to this that you're just going to have to change the interest to, and that's how we can solve problems. Okay, no, I don't want to save that. Let's go back here. Okay, Darva is saving up for a trip to Australia in 5 years. She plans to work on a student visa while she's there, and she needs only enough money for a return flight and her expenses until she finds a job. She deposits $500 into a savings account at the end of each 6-month period from what she wants to earn as a server. The account earns 3.8% compounded semi-annually. How much money will be in the account at the end of 5 years? How much money will be interest? Lots of numbers given there. So first of all, this is what someone did. They drew a timeline to kind of look at what's happening. So it says that 5 years is the time. So first of all, they said, okay, let's divide this into 5 years. But every 6 months, she puts in $500. So 6 months is halfway in between. So at first, she starts with $500. Then after 6 months, she puts another 500, another 500, another 500. Okay? So in other words, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So So what she did is her first deposit comes in 6 months. She has $500 and she times it by her interest rate. She got 0.19, 1.09. So she used this formula. Future value equals P1 plus IN. And you guys know that that is from last section. So her principal is 500. 1 plus interest. How did she get 0.019 when the interest was 38 or 3.8? What she did is she took her calculator and she did 0.038 and she divided it by how often is it compounded? Semi-annual. Divided by 2, that's how she got 0.19. Okay, so we have to remember all the stuff we learned before. Okay, so her first amount, she gets 1.09 and it's raised n because this first amount she puts in is going to be compounded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Her next one's only going to be compounded 8 times, 7 times, 6, 5. So each amount she puts in is going to be compounded less because it's only in her account for less time. That last $500 she puts in actually gets no interest because it's not compounded. It's just put in. Isn't allowed to create more interest. Okay? So then what she did is she made a spreadsheet, and I'll show you this spreadsheet right here. So she split it into her years, just like on that chart, half a year, 1 year, all the way up. Compounding periods, we said 9, 8, 7, 6. Here she has her deposit. It's always 500. Her future value is going to be C2. So this cell times by 1.09 to the power of 9 to the power of B2. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take these two cells, I'm going to highlight them, and this is the exact spreadsheet I give you. So what you can do is you can add rows to use this for different questions. You can change the formula. You could change the interest rate right there and use this for your own. So I'm going to take these two. I'm going to grab that little box down there and I'm going to fill. Okay? So in other words, this first deposit, she makes $592 because it's compounding 9 times. The last deposit doesn't get compounded at all. It is only worth $500. Last thing we have to do is we have to add these up. So to add up, we go equals, sum, and your first bracket. Then I highlight all the ones I want. I press enter on my keyboard and it adds that up. So in total, she's deposited $5,000. Her future value is going to be how much money she has left. Oops, I have to put this in first. So I go equals, sum, bracket. I highlight all of these, press enter, and it gives me my future value. So she's going to make, when it's all said and done, she's going to make $5,449. Okay, let's go back to our question. So we get the same answer that she made. How much of that is interest? Well, we do the how much she makes versus how much she put in. So she made $449. I'm going to show you another way that we could have done this question, and that's with something called the financial calculator. And the financial calculator is on the Moodle website. It looks something like this. So number of payments. How many times did she make a payment? Okay, it looks like she made, based on our diagram, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She made 10 payments. Is that right? 10 payments. There we go. Okay, so back to my calculator. She's made 10 payments. Her interest rate per year, we said, was 3.8. So we're just filling in information. Her present value. So how much did she put in at the beginning? 0. She didn't start until halfway through. Her payment each month is 500. Okay, her future value is what we're trying to find out. How often does she pay? She pays semi-annually, twice a year. And the compounding frequency, so how often does it compound? Let me see. It also compounds semi-annually. So we are going to go back here and we're going to put semi-annual there as well. Okay, and if we put all of our information in correctly, we solve for the future value, so how much it's worth at the end. Look, we get the exact same value. So two ways of doing this. Financial calculator, which is found on the Moodle site. So if you go on the Moodle site, there's a financial calculator and there's an Excel spreadsheet. Either one can help you solve this. Okay. There are questions where where there's difference. I want to find an example. So here they deposit 750 at the end of every 3 months, but interest is quarterly. So be very careful there. Those are the questions that are going to trick you. So your interest is compounded quarterly. So what that means, your interest is compounded quarterly, but it says I can't find my right page, but he puts in every 3 months. So in other words, that one's also quarterly. Never mind. For example, I think this is the one where it's different. So he makes an investment every 6 months. No, they all seem to be the same. Sorry, I thought they would try and switch it up for you. Actually, question 5 that you're assigned. Fraser, who is 16 years old, wants to buy a car. He deposits $600 every 3 months. No, that's compounded quarterly. Maybe they are always the same. Maybe I'm leading you astray. Anyways, so these two things, spreadsheet and calculator, are going to be your friend. You're going to have to know how to use both of these. So the question is this stuff going to be on the test? This stuff will definitely be on the pre-test where you can use computers, but this content where you use the spreadsheet and the financial calculator will not be on the test because you will not have access to a computer for the test, but there will be a couple of questions on the pre-test. So it is something that you still need to know how to do. Okay?